Sarah, my daughter-in-law, had a way of cutting with a smile. It could chill a room. We were at our weekly brunch, the morning sunlight generous in the restaurant. She started in. Her voice was too sweet, almost cloying. My son David shifted uncomfortably beside her. His shoulders rose slightly. He pretended to be engrossed in his menu. But I saw the tension in his jaw. He knew what was coming, the familiar prelude to another attack. Sarah leaned forward conspiratorially, lowering her voice. Only our small table could hear her words. Some people just have a knack for getting what they want, she added. Her eyes flashed at me. She held my gaze across the white tablecloth. From making sure things go their way, even after someone's gone. The implication hung heavy, suffocating the air. It was a familiar, tired accusation. She hinted I'd manipulated Michael's while, that I'd maneuvered things for my own benefit, and to David's detriment. My grandchildren, bless their innocent hearts, were busy with pancakes and syrup. They didn't notice the sharp tension on the adults. But David, my easygoing son, looked trapped. He was caught between his wife and his mother. I felt a familiar heat rise in my chest, an uncomfortable mix of deep hurt and simmering, righteous anger. For too many years I'd silently listened to these failed attacks. These subtle, constant suggestions said I'd been unfair, that David was shortchanged by his father's last wishes. A forgotten memory surfaced then, hazy at first, like an old, fading photograph tucked away. It was a conversation from decades ago, a quiet whisper shared over coffee with a dear departed friend. This friend had lived in Sarah's tight-knit community. I cleared my throat deliberately. My voice was calm, but laced with a new, quiet firmness. "It's funny you mention family arrangements, Sarah," I began. I set down my delicate teacup with a gentle, distinct clink against its saucer. Her initial smug smile faltered visibly. A tiny crack appeared in her perfect composure. Her eyes narrowed, sensing a shift. She clearly wasn't used to me pushing back, not like this. "Because I remember quite a story about your own family's inheritance," I continued. I watched her carefully, noting every flicker of her expression. David, my son, looked up from his menu, genuinely surprised, his brow furrowed with confusion and dawning interest. The air around us seemed to thicken. It was charged with unspoken possibility. The children's chatter suddenly receded. "Your maternal grandmother, Alara, had a younger sister, Lena, didn't she?" I asked. My gaze was steady and unwavering, a silent challenge. Sarah blinked slowly, a flicker of confusion, then defensiveness crossing her face. "Yes," she said slowly, her voice uncertain. "Great Aunt Lena. Why do you ask?" "Well," I paused, letting the silence draw out. It stretched tautly between us. I held her gaze. "I heard that Alara, your grandmother, made quite sure Lena got no penny of the family homestead, even though it was implicitly promised to both by their parents." The confident, superior smirk she had worn vanished. It evaporated into thin air. I saw dawning recognition in her eyes. A slow, horrifying understanding I wasn't just guessing. I had specific details, whispers of a public secret, one carefully buried under layers of polite society and family pride for generations. "Lena ended up living in that little cottage by the creek, didn't she?" I pressed gently. My voice was quiet, almost a murmur, but clear as a bell. "While Alara, your grandmother, enjoyed the big house, the sprawling grounds, and everything else." Sarah stared at me, utterly speechless, her eyes wide and blank with shock. Her elaborate scheme to shame me publicly had backfired dramatically, spectacularly. All the cutting accusations she'd aimed at me now felt like a cruel, twisted mirror, reflecting her own family's less elegant, unjust history right back. The rest of brunch passed in strained, awkward silence. Sarah picked idly at her food, without appetite. She darted furtive glances at me, but said not another word the whole meal. when we finally parted ways, her usual air of superiority was gone, replaced by a quiet, simmering shame that clung to her like a shadow. Later that evening, I sat by my window in the quiet comfort of my living room. A warm, familiar lamp glowed softly beside me. I felt a deep, quiet satisfaction settle over me, a sense of profound peace. Karma, I mused, often works in its own gentle, surprising, and incredibly patient ways. Sometimes all it truly takes is the quiet, unvarnished truth to set things right, to untangle the knots of past injustices. And sometimes the history we try to bury, the secrets we wish to keep hidden, rises unexpectedly, especially when we least expect its reckoning. After my DL tried to shame me at brunch, my family history secret silenced her. What would you do first in that situation? Subscribe for more. Like if this was worth to that tip it. Drop your thoughts and suggestions in the comments.